Hello all out there, this is the fourth or fifth or third episode of the Cacophony Session Goes Pop. Okay, the third episode. God, feels like more because we just hate doing these, they're just awful. My name is Alex, and as you can tell, I'm doing the intro for this one, which is not the norm. I'm not quite used to it, which is why I'm fluffing up already. We have my co-host, and I would say CEO of the Cacophony Sessions group, the man born without a rump, Mr. Golden Knee Pump, Daniel Whittle. How have you been, Daniel? Is everything good?
I'm pretty good. I'm doing fine, yeah.
Well, what have you been up to in the last, I think it's been, what, 3 weeks since we've done one of these?
It's been a few weeks, yeah. Been to my first gig in Plymouth for the other than Foreign Voices, who I'm watching regularly, and you should be too. I saw Sting and I saw Blondie on the Ho. Sting was excellent, Blondie not quite so much. I've been booking lots of gigs as well. I'm going to see Childish Gambino in December, which I'm excited about.
Oh, that'd be good. Oh, so why wasn't Blondie that good? Because she's old and her voice is going.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. The elasticity of her vocal cords is gone. When you get older performers, you can always tell when they start doing this whole like whoa style of singing, because the voice can't process the vocals in the same way. Sometimes it works, like I saw George Clinton when he was, what, 82, and it's fine because he's like the party host. But when you're Debbie Harry, the main attraction of Blondie, then it's dampened when the vocal performance is off. They had Glenn Matlock from the original Sex Pistols on bass, which was cool, but yeah, they were pretty pedestrian, really.
I think that's the problem, though, isn't it? When groups end up being, you know, kind of that old, you kind of get to that point then where you're enjoying it for the sheer enthusiasm of the music rather than how good they're playing it to that point. It's like, you know, what is it? We always make fun of Elton John, don't we, for the Dill Damned In video. But he's the same. Dill Damned In.
Looking like a tube of lava.
They're kind of like do vocal tricks to kind of get over the fact they just can't hit the notes they used to.
Yeah.
It kind of can work, and sometimes it doesn't. It's like, have you ever seen that video of Freddie Mercury when if he was alive on TV, and I think it might be Something to Love or something. And I remember, like, because he was ill or something, rather than going for the high, he baritoned it. Right. And it still sounded really good. You wouldn't really notice if you were watching him live. Oh, no, he still did well, but they're all doing that now. There's no high notes anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the songs, they drop a key or something just to keep them being able to sing it properly.
Yeah.
That's a shame. So Sting was all right then.
Yeah, Sting was great.
Just to find time between his extended lovemaking sessions to play Plymouth.
Yeah. Since he's retired from the wrestling, he's a lot more available now in his schedule. So
I would have loved it when we saw Sting live. He actually did that, like Sting from WCW, hearing in the rafters and like zip lines down in a trench coat.
Oh, that would have been amazing. I would have been totally down for that. I'm just happy that I got to see Sting, the wrestler, in August of 2023, and Sting, the non-wrestler, in 2024. Saw both Stings within 12 months. That's an achievement.
I haven't seen any music. Annoyingly, so I'm setting up for a wedding next year, and I was asked if I wanted to go to Download Festival, which has just been the last weekend.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
My brother and mate Dan went to send me videos on Monday. I was like, it looks really fun. I kind of wish I did go. But they also have 2 feet deep puddles in the middle of the mosh pit. It was raining.
It's always the same at Download.
I kind of feel good I did go because of that, because I don't know, I'm one of those guys that like has to shower every day, else I just feel disgusting.
Yeah.
And the idea of just waking up at 10 on the 3rd day covered in mud and just stink. You know, when mud gets really wet, it never smiles like mud, it always smells like piss or something. I don't know. I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much as I should have. Well, there's some of the bands there I would mind have seen. I've got this week off. It's the other half's birthday this week, so we're off to London on Thursday. We're going to watch Spirited Away, the stage performance. I do quite like my Studio Ghibli films, and Spirited Away is, I would say, the most famous one.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
For that one.
Yeah,
never seen it.
Never seen it. It's been on my list for years and years. Like, I love anime and that kind of storytelling. But
give it a go.
I really want. It's just something I've never got around to watching.
It's a great film. It's not my favorite Studio Ghibli film. That's probably Princess Mononoke,
right?
Which is very good. I'd highly recommend watching that one as well. So Gillian Anderson actually does a voice for some of the characters in it. So
yeah, one of our favourites. I've got no further with my X-Files watch through that I was talking about last time. I'm still at the back end of season 2. It's taking a back seat because I've just started playing the original Red Dead Redemption, and that's taking up more time than
original. What, a PlayStation? Yeah. It was a PlayStation 2.
It was on a PlayStation 3, but it's been re-released on PlayStation 4, which means I can play it on my PlayStation 5. There's not really any graphical updates to it, but it still looks really good. It's surprising how well that game holds up. And it's like a more simplistic version of Red Dead 2, which I loved. It's quicker to play and there's less of the weird realism immersion mechanics that they added in the second one. It's a bit more of a breeze to pick up and play. I'm shooting through it. It's a damn good game.
Yeah, you kind of realize that like with each iteration they add on the new mechanics and new stuff, but when you go back to normal, you realize actually all that new stuff isn't really needed.
Yeah, I don't need to greet or antagonize every pedestrian in the game. I'm quite happy just wandering around doing like stupid side missions and throwing horseshoes, which is
that's
fun.
what we need. Well, we do have some songs to talk about because we are doing the UK top 10 for the 24th of the 6th, 2024 is the date on my computer right now.
That's the
so this is Friday, isn't it, when it gets released?
21st of June.
So for the 21st of June, I would like to say we've got loads of new ones for you from last time, but I would be lying because we haven't got that many new ones.
No.
But we will, you know, try and press forward and see how we do. I think this counts as the intro segment finishing, so I'm going to actually pass it back to Dan, who actually does do this and does it well. But the experiment is over.
Please go to cacophonisessions.com if you want to view all our old episodes. I've also got the playlist on Apple Music and Spotify, as usual, with all 10 tracks from tonight's episode. Before we get into the top 10, just wanted to give a quick birthday shout out to the Cacophony Sessions Martin, the rhythm guitarist of Foreign Voices as well. He turned 50 last week. He doesn't look a day over 49. I met up with him over the weekend for a beer, and he wants to be sharing his faith with you all soon. So I'm sure we'll find an excuse to get him on an episode in the near future. But yeah,
it's quite funny, isn't it? Because we always make fun of Martin for being old, but once he hits 50, it's no longer a joke. Like, actually, he might be a bit sensitive to being old now.
Yeah.
Cut back on the old jokes.
Yeah, it was one of those where I wasn't sure whether to buy him a pint or get him a nice blanket.
Nice big bag of Werther's.
Yeah, big bag, fisherman's friend, you know.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God, he's so hideously old.
Yeah, and speaking of old, there aren't many new tracks. In fact, there are no new entries in the whole top 40. There's one re-entry, which we'll get onto a little bit down the line, that's outside the top 10. We will cover those very briefly later on. But we'll make a start in 10th position, a song that's been around for quite a while. We talked about it last time. It's been on the chart for 9 weeks. This is, of course, Taylor Swift, again, featuring Post Malone. It's Fortnite. Any new thoughts
Have we talked about this one?
Yeah, we talked about it last night. It's that forgettable that you don't remember it. The production from Jack Antonoff is basic as fuck. It's just a really mid song about a relationship that lasted 2 weeks and she's still bitter about it in her head. It's rubbish. I like Taylor Swift. I really do, and I wish we had a better song to talk about because I think she is capable of far more than she has done with this album cycle, but this is not the one.
It's quite funny, actually, because obviously how you feel about a song is what your mood is like on the day.
Yeah.
Because every time we listen to songs, I have a complete hard reset because I never listen to them again. And I'm completely like, I swear to God, I can't remember listening to this one. So, I mean, are you sure?
Yeah, because we talked about Post Malone's rather phoned-in feature that he does.
Because it's funny because I've got notes about this song and I've done that again.
Yeah.
At least the one I've been with her.
He's just on a few lines on the chorus and then towards the end of the song where Taylor Swift then repeats what he said, which kind of makes his words redundant. I like Post Malone, I like Taylor Swift, and I even like Jack Antonoff, who produced it, but there's no wistful nostalgia. The music certainly doesn't really work with the song because I think it's not a very dynamic vocal performance. It's delivered in a kind of monotone style from Taylor Swift, and the music is very basic and it all just creates this big slop of nothing.
It's rather moribund.
I'd go further than moribund. This is already dead. It's the meme, isn't it? Stop it. Stop it.
Because I weirdly don't mind Taylor Swift as well.
Yeah.
And I actually quite like Post Malone. I mean, we've just been between ourselves, but it is a very understated song. I know what you mean about the vocal performance, because I've noticed this is becoming a bit of a pattern. Did Billie Eilish make this popular, where everything's just gotta be like this?
Well, I would say, because, spoiler alert, Billie Eilish is on this list later, and it's night and day, because Billie Eilish is a great vocalist, and even her new stuff, she shows a lot more range in it. I would argue that you could go further back. I would argue that you could look at somebody like Lorde in 2013 as being like this very hushed, understated vocal performance. But even Lord's gone on to do much better things than Royals.
I can't hear her name because South Park's ruined it for me.
I know. It is.
Hi, I'm Lord. No.
Randy Marsh.
Oh, it's so funny. It's a very understated song. The actual synths and the music underneath it, I quite like. It's just average, isn't it? They try a bit with Post Malone's token vocals at the end. But he doesn't give any.
You're ruining my life. Yeah, that bit.
I feel like the music swells a little bit, and he's trying to be anthemic, but I mean, which I like Post Malone, but you can say he hasn't got a strong voice. He's just got a very distinctive voice, which is fine. But when you're going to have someone doing a bar for the crescendo bit, you want someone almost Christina Aguilera at the end, Like, But he just doesn't have that range.
We talked about her ad libs on previous episodes, like that kind of thing. But yeah, Taylor Swift doesn't really do anything of note on this song, and the lyrics are so bitter. It's about having known somebody for 2 weeks, and now she's obsessed with him, and they're neighbors, and she wants to kill his wife, and she knows that her husband's cheating on her. She's created this weird, bitter fantasy in her head where she gets to be the person who's being victimized without anybody knowing. And it's just, I'm just like, it's a very toxic situation to be in. You should, like, this shouldn't be just celebrated as a fun pop song to be out there. I think you need help, Taylor. If you're really
kind of makes you think she's like Michael Caine on The Nosy Neighbour. Yeah, it's not like that, isn't it? It reeks of that a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh man, we will kind of touch upon this with other songs in the list, because there are songs that I think are very similar to this that are even produced by the same guy later on in the list, that I think that even though structurally they're quite similar, they work a lot better than this one. I just think this is a nothing burger of a song.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, because you feel like those two together could have made a better one.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised this is the one, this is like the single.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem like a single song. This feels to me more like an album song,
Yeah.
Once you've had a few upbeat ones and you put this one in the middle just to kind of break up the enthusiasm, I guess, in the songs. I don't know. It's just not bad, but it's just, I'm pretty certain in the whole of the UK and the world, there are definitely more than 10 songs better than this to make this. Yeah, like it shouldn't be the top 10. It's just, if you already have a platform, you automatically, like, it doesn't matter what they release, they're going to be in the top 10. These two artists together, they're going to be in the top 10. It shows actually how average the song is, because it is only number 10 or last time 11. Because if these two artists came together and made a better song, it would be like number 1 for like 3 months.
Yeah,
because they're that famous, you know.
Yeah.
But we're not living in that world, are we?
No. We'll move on, because we have discussed this one, to another song that's also up from number 10 by 1 place from last week. We've also discussed this one before. It's Austin by Dasher. Last week, number 10. This week, number 9. It's been on the chart for 17 weeks. And again, as we mentioned last time, this is one of the most generic TikTok country songs you could possibly hear. It hasn't grown on me. If anything, I like it less now that I've heard it.
I'm kind of the opposite.
Really?
It's kind of, I don't like it still.
Okay.
But it has grown on me more than it was.
Right.
I was listening to these songs earlier, and my other half came in. I was talking to her about. I was like, "Look at this! Look how much country is now in the fucking charts." Right?
Yeah, I considered wearing a cowboy outfit for today's podcast, because
it's definitely very hot at the moment.
Yeah,
it's very hot at the moment. It's quite surprising. But I was showing it to her, and she said, "This isn't country," and I was like, "No, this is what country sounds like now."
Yeah,
like country is just pop music, but with southern accents, and they sing about the most stereotypical country things.
Yeah, trucks and boots. You know, it's got all the hits.
Well, I was thinking about this, right? Because I would love to hear some of these songs, but they've been de-countryed. I was thinking about this, right? So instead of boots, say trainers.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of truck, say hatchback.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of he sat on the porch, he was sat in the front room. Right? I've got those things. Replace whiskey with white wine. And instead of Austin, oh, it's Detroit. There you go. Problem solved. Yeah, it's so stereotypical. I think sometimes, do you reckon they have lines and they actually go, no, that's not country enough? They must be like,
I think so.
You came home. No, can't say home. Let's say trailer. And they go, yes, genius.
Yeah.
That's two more spaces up in the chart, that is.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. I was driving in my car. Why not, instead of car, why don't you just say truck? There you go.
Oh, shit, genius. That you've got writing credit. You'd have made about 2 million off that idea.
Yeah. I know nothing about trucks. I don't know any brands of truck, but I can tell you that that word is important to country music.
Because there's loads of dudes that like country music and then obviously women as well. But like, I feel like it's almost like they've managed to sneak in a way for like middle-aged men to like really girly pop music. They've just found like, they've almost found a way.
Yeah.
To kind of get everyone to listen to it just because no, it's not, you know, it's not masculine enough. We'll put in whiskey drinking instead of going to mega bowls. You know, it's just, it's so transparently manipulative. It's, it's bad, really.
Yeah, it feels like it's written by an AI. It doesn't feel like it's...
It does. That's actually the best way of putting it. This is AI written.
Yeah. A lot of the ones on this week's chart in particular sound like that, to be honest.
Oh, actually, speaking of transparent shit, I noticed that Beyonce completely toppled off this list.
Yeah. She's not around. That album cycle seems to have dipped off it, at least in the UK. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the Billboard Hot 100, but yeah, that didn't seem to have picked up as much steam as I thought it would, to be honest. But who knows? She might have another go round, another single later on in the cycle. We might.
I look forward to her next single about bull riding.
She's always planned the Renaissance thing to be a trilogy. So the next album is probably going to be a completely different genre again. I really hope she goes for some gent, because Sugar would be like the best name for that album ever.
Bit of Norwegian black metal, that'd be nice.
That would be incredible. I am on board for that. We need to move on because we've already talked about Dasher and that song Austin 2 weeks in a row. So number 8 has also gone up a place. It was number 9 last week. It's our friend Post Malone. He's back again, his 6th week on the chart. This is I Had Some Help featuring country singer Morgan Wallen. Al, what are your thoughts?
I was actually expecting you to say this is a new one on the charts because I've completely forgotten I've already listened to this.
New for us. We haven't heard this one.
Thank for that, because my first thought for this one was, oh, not you, Post, not you.
Yeah.
He's gone country now. Like, what? Is it just a license to put money?
Well. There's no auto-tune and trap references on this. It's just pure country pop rock. With Morgan Wallen, a big name in America at the moment. He's like their big country superstar. He's had quite a few hits. This is his first UK hit. There was controversy around him saying the N-word a while ago, and people seem to have forgiven him for that. This isn't the worst thing on the chart. I prefer this to the last track. It's got some arrangement elements to it. It's got fiddle. It's very 2024 country coded, and that is a big distraction when I listen to it, because we like Post Malone, but country is really not something that I ever really found a lot of enjoyment with. There's just something about country that just doesn't vibe with who I am. Maybe that's my problem.
Right now, Post, he's just following the money. Just follow that money. That's all he's doing. I think the problem is with most people, like, I don't mind like country music, but like in an older country where it actually sounds like its own genre. Right now, country for me, it's just pop music.
Yeah.
But it's just what they sing about. That's the only thing that changes.
Yeah.
Especially because with country music, it's supposed to be quite like, you know, raw, and it's all about raw emotions, usually about working class people. But there's something that really doesn't sit right with me when you auto-tune on a country song. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is, but I feel like it's not supposed... Yeah,
it sounds very sterile, doesn't it? It sounds like it's too clean, going against the raw aesthetic of what is essentially a traditional genre. It doesn't sound right.
I didn't mind this song. I wrote here, inoffensively okay.
Yeah, I've listened to it a couple of times. It was more enjoyable the second time around. Morgan Wallen's got a good voice. Post Malone, as we've established, has got a good voice. He's not really doing the things that Post Malone does best, no. He's not playing to his strengths here, but it's not horrendous.
I do think the chorus is pretty strong in this one, though. Yeah. I think it's got a good chorus.
Yeah, theme of the song
I didn't have much to say.
I mean, it's about, like, I've got problems, but it's about enabling, really. It's like, I've got problems, but you were the one that helped me get that bottle off of the shelf. Again, bottles, and it's all the cliche stuff. I just don't buy it. It's just a throwaway. I'm not sure whether we can rebrand Post Malone as either, I'm thinking either Compost Malone or Post McDonald.
I just hope he doesn't do more of this.
Yeah,
I just like that first album that came out.
F1 Trillion seems to be his new album, and it's branded as country, so I think we're going to get more country from him.
I just like Post Malone's usual thing of, he essentially, it annoys me that he gets on his Wikipedia says he's a singer and rapper. He's not really, he's never rapped. I've never heard him rap. But that's my favorite genre for him, where it's got the same beats as that of a good rap song would be on, but it's him singing.
Yeah, the trap, trap suits him down to a T.
Yeah.
His hip hop coded, but yeah, he kind of does his whole like warbling thing on it, but it sounds.
I love his warbling voice. Like it reminds me of there was a band back in the day, an Alaskan band called 36 Crazy Fists from like 20 years ago, and their singer sings like Post Malone, and I kind of like that warbliness. If that's the term we use for it, I do quite like that. It's almost like his voice isn't strong enough to hold the notes, so it kind of breaks, but in a kind of very unique way. And I've always been quite fond of that. So yeah, I do like Post Malone, and he seems like a pretty genuinely cool dude. You can ever see him in interviews and stuff. And, and this song's just okay. It's just it's very transparently following the money. Yeah,
country's the big thing in 2024. Somehow it's even happening in the UK, even though country has no tradition in the UK really. I think it's Charlie Hanson that does the production on this. I think he's also been involved in production on his other projects as well. So he's kept a lot of the same people. And they seem to have
Where's Post Malone from?
He's from...
Sorry, I completely interrupted you. Because sometimes I feel, I don't know, maybe obviously you don't have to be, but it does help if you're kind of from around the area that kind of make it
he's
more
not
credible.
From Texas. I was wrong. I thought he was. He's from Syracuse in New York. So he's a East Coast guy. So yeah, this isn't really in his wheelhouse, to be honest. And well, I don't know. I'm not familiar.
It'd be like me making a fucking reggae album. It's just, it's a little bit in bad taste, isn't it?
Why listen?
It's just a little bit in bad taste.
Oh man!
Like me, just like we're jamming, man, and you'd be like, oh, is that right?
Yeah. Well, I guess he's not really changed his vocal style. He's not put on like
he hasn't conjured it up, which
yeah, it's not like moonshine, and it's not. He's not done a fucking Justin Timberlake. Like with Man of the Woods in 2018, where it was just like several normal Justin Timberlake songs, and then he will casually chuck in like this weird Man of the Woods song where it's all harmonizing and he's a lumberjack. It's like, what the fuck are you doing, Justin? And why did nobody know if you were awful for like 5 years?
There's nothing worse than a vocalist just adding a different twang to their voice. It's very off-putting.
Well,
remember like Eminem? Was it after it's like, was it Recovery?
Oh, we will get on to Eminem. We will get on to Eminem. So let's put a pin in that one.
Okay, go on then. Yeah, okay. 6 out of 10.
Yeah, in terms of our thumb scale, this is very much thumbs in the middle for me. It's a
num-thumb.
Yeah, num-thumb. Next up, we'll move away from country, thank God, because this is the first of 2 British entries in the charts. This one's been on the chart for 4 weeks, a new entry for us. Last week it was at number 6. This one is Central C, featuring Lil Baby, and the track is called Band for Band. It's a kind of crossover between UK drill and American hip-hop via Lil Baby. It's an interesting, if short, throwaway hip-hop tune. I don't mind it. It's one of the songs I like the most on tonight's list, but there's nothing outstanding about it that makes me want to go back to it too much. I like Central C. I've listened to some of the stuff. He did a EP with Dave last year called Split Decision, and I really like his flow. He's from Shepherd's Bush. He's a good rapper. He was also on J. Cole's album earlier this year that was trash, but his verse is one of the better ones on it. Lil Baby's one of those, he's in the same vein as 21 Savage for me. I don't really get the mass appeal. Lil Baby had 47 Billboard Top 100 hits, and he's tied with Paul McCartney and Prince. It's insane. I couldn't tell you anything about Lil Baby, but he's had as many hits in America as Prince and Paul McCartney. What the fuck kind of era are we living in where that happens? Where somebody who's very distinctly average is one of the record holders for the Billboard hits. I'm sorry, but
this song is mad. Like, okay, so I was genuinely excited when it first came on because it wasn't more fucking country.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, nice. And I quite like a bit of you. I don't listen to it like that. I do like drill songs when I'm showing them. I do. Yeah. There is I do like British grime as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do like a London accent rapping. I do like it. Central C, I thought he sounded great. I really liked his, like you say, I liked his flow. I liked all of his bars. I liked the music underneath it. It was cool. It sounded aggressive. And I was really, really into it. Lil Baby straight up ruined this song.
It's the worst bit of it, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm not joking. Because I was listening, there you go, my girlfriend, she came in and I actually said, listen to this right now. And I put his bars on. And I said, honestly, can you tell me anything that he's saying? I can't make out. It's the most incoherent. Yeah. What is that?
Yeah.
And by the way, he's breaking records. This guy can't do shit. Anyone could do that.
Yeah.
Anyone could. I honestly, I can't tell you what this song's about. I have no idea. I've listened to it a few times. What is it? Like, band for band.
Yeah.
M for M.
Yeah,
What's M for M?
I don't get that bit. The Central C bit's are braggadocious UK hip hop stuff, and he's going on about band for band, like it's battle of bands kind of thing. I presume we can go band for band. It's a musical competition, and then yeah, we're gonna go M for M, and this weird like it's got this weird effect on his voice, you know. Yeah, I don't get it.
It's baffling, actually. This is a popular way of.
He's so successful in America, so successful. I listen to a lot of hip hop. I think it's rapidly becoming one of my most listened to genres of this year. I've gone fully back. I've been listening to lots of 2000s hip hop, lots of 2010s hip hop, and there's people that I just don't get. And Lil Baby's one of them. There's hundreds of rappers that are like this. If I didn't have the words Lil Baby written on the track in front of me when I was listening to it, I wouldn't be able to tell you who it was. And I've listened to multiple songs with Lil Baby featured on it. He's been featured on loads of albums across the years. And yeah, there was that track with Da Baby. And the only reason I can remember that is because they're two artists with similar names on it.
When I first saw this, I actually thought, oh, I know Da Baby. I've heard one of his songs.
Yeah, no, it's Lil Baby.
I think he's quite a good rapper. I don't listen to his stuff, but what I've heard is he can rap. So when I heard this, when this guy came in, see what this guy's part's going to be like. And then that came on. I was like, what is the fuck?
Yeah.
Actual fuck was that shit?
There's Baby Keem as well, who's actually all right as far as generic American rappers go. He supported Kendrick Lamar when I saw him, and he was actually pretty good. It surprised me. But yeah, the Lil Baby is like Mr. Generic hip hop. It's not.
Even his name, Lil, is like on everything. And Baby. They're like, when are you going to go the opposite? I thought they were trying to big themselves up. Why is he not called like Gigantic Adult or something like that?
It's like that bit in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I watched the episode the other day where they're doing The Night Man Cometh. And D is Sweet D singing, bye bye, baby boy, I love you. And she's like, hang on, is this song about me wanting to make love to a baby? It's like, why would you want to call yourself Lil Baby? Because it's just going to give yourself connotations of being a small child. I don't know.
You'd like to think when it goes, so what are you going to be called, Lil Baby? One of his mates just went, really?
Yeah.
Like, really?
Yeah. Why didn't you just call yourself Tiny Toddler?
I mean, I'm not surprised there's already a rapper called Tiny Toddler.
There probably is. If there's not,
in fact, that's a better name. That's a better name than Lil Baby.
From yours truly, aka Tiny Toddler, is coming end of 2024.
I'll totally listen to some Tiny Toddler.
But yeah, Central C's good. I like Central C.
He's very good. Is this just a UK one? Like, did he make the charts in the US version?
I don't think so. So yeah, UK seems to never really get much traction in the US. There's occasionally people that will become big, but they don't tend to be. Nowadays, because of the internet, because everything's so consumerist driven, there are always crossover tracks happening all the time. Whether or not leads to anything in terms of sustained success, probably not, but there's certainly a lot of crossover tracks where UK
There's a lot of cross promotion, isn't there?
Yeah,
that's what it seems to be.
Kind of gets lost in the source, doesn't it? It's because there's so much of it. It's just really hard to, like, I'm sure there's a track out there that Lil Baby's done something that's brilliant, but because the market's so saturated with rappers with similar names and similar vibes, I'm just not going to listen to it. I'll probably never uncover it.
What I don't like about the crossover stuff, for the most part, is the guy that's been brought in to just do like a token bar. Like, you can tell that it's not his music, because all of the bars that have ever been from a token, brought in artist just to, get the song a bit more traction. The bars are always just phoned in. They're never about it. The lyrics are never about anything.
Yeah,
it's just general crap, and then it just finishes. They go, right, done. That'll go up 4 more spots in the charts.
Yeah, it's very short, and it's just designed to get some ears on it, I think. It's not attached to an album from what I can see, but hey, Central C does some good stuff, so I'm likely to check out an album from him going forward. Not so much.
But he did tick one of the boxes for a rap bingo. He did start going, he does that a few times. He didn't do the bird tweeting.
No bird calls.
No bird tweeting.
There's a bird call coming up in a different place this week with another one of the songs, but it's not this one. In fact, it is the next song on the list. Is in number 6, which swapped places in the chart with the last one. Number 6 is Stargazing by Miles Smith, UK singer-songwriter from Luton. This was at number 7 last week. This one's been on charts for 6 weeks since we dipped out of the charts. Al, what are your thoughts on this one?
So we have listened to this one before. I know I recognised it, right?
No, we haven't. No.
Are you joking? Are you actually taking a piss?
No, we haven't. No.
Okay, no joke, right? These are my notes. It's okay. It's sang well. Chorus is okay. Sounds like 50 songs I've already heard, but couldn't tell you what they are. It's very understated again. I don't like all these pop songs being understated. I want somebody to fucking sing it, to belt something. It's just driving me nuts. But I'm not joking. I thought we talked about this last time.
It is.
This sounds like every fucking song in the British radio over the last year. It sounds exactly the same.
Yeah.
The voice sounds the same. The music sounds the same. What they're singing about sounds the same. I genuinely thought we talked about this song before. I didn't have that many notes for it. I was like, we've already done this one.
It's that generic. You've already had the conversation in your head.
It is hideously generic, which is why it's so high up. It's like they've gone...
This is a double thumbs down for me. Like, I really don't like this song. For every reason that you've said. The hand claps sound weak as fuck. Like, there's a... And I'm like, that is the most unmotivational sound in music with the kick drum throughout. And this song sounds so dated, right? So there are loads of songs that you could say, right, that sounds 80s. That's an intentional aesthetic, right? But it doesn't sound dated because they're going for a vibe. This song sounds like it could have been out in 2012. It sounds like Avicii and Aloe Black came out.
Songs have a lot to answer.
It is so... 2012 to 2014 coded. It's just, this song really, I don't like this song. And Miles Smith, seems like a talented bloke. And he can sing. There's that octave jump in the chorus, which I'm convinced is the only reason anybody listens to this song. The bit where it's like, in my bones, the way it does an octave jump.
The guy can sing.
Yeah, it can sing. And I'm like, that's always an effective thing to sing along. It always evokes feelings in people. But other than that, there is nothing in this song. It is just generic trash, and I hate it.
It's so funny that you mentioned the drum, like doing that bit, right, when it builds up. And my last note, which I didn't actually read, is needed snare in the chorus.
Yeah. Or anything.
It would have been bad. It would have been way better.
Yeah.
It would have been way better. Just fucking hit a snare drum on a 2 and a 2 and a 4, and then boom, it's a better chorus. But no, there's just that. Mumford & Sons. The first Mumford & Sons album, I genuinely enjoyed to this day. I think it's all right.
Power to you. I can't get that far.
Fair enough. But it was popular for a reason at the time. But I don't like what has changed, how it's changed music going forward, and they need some fucking snare drum in this bloody chorus.
Yeah.
If you don't have any drums in the verses, just having a bass drum isn't enough of that. Isn't enough of a lift. Just because it was absent in the verses doesn't mean just the bass drum by itself is fine. It's not. Get some fucking snare in it.
Yeah.
It's fucking hell. This song, I'm actually genuinely blown away that we didn't talk about this last time. I 100% thought we've already done this song.
Yeah, no.
It sounds like every song I've ever heard in the UK charts.
If I were to have a bad dream and my mind had to try and fill in a soundtrack to that bad dream, my mind would conjure up something like this from my nightmares, just generic enough that it's acceptable to lots of people and they'll listen to it. But there's absolutely no funk in this whatsoever, which takes away from his vocal because, as I say, he can sing, but because of the lack of funk in it and the lack of charisma, it's like the brown note. It makes me want to shit myself. It's awful. I can't abide this kind of music. This is not my least favorite song on this list, though. But it's fighting hard to beat it. It is.
Well, it's like anything. I can deal with a song being bad. I can deal with a song being good. But when it feels like there was no effort for it to be either, when there was no risks taken, nothing original in it, you feel to yourself, what's the point in the song?
Yeah.
What is the actual point?
Yeah, it's even got like Kaiser Chief style. Whoa. It's like, this is the bird call that I was referring to. It sounds like it's trying to do an impression of an owl. It's a really bad song.
This is
one of the worst ones we've covered, other than Kanye West.
I can't say that because there are songs on this top 10 I dislike more than this one.
Coming up, there's taking that title away from this one, so Miles Smith can breathe a sigh of relief because you're not going to maintain that position by the end of this show.
This artist, we will not hear about him in the next year ever again.
It's either we'll never hear from Miles Smith again, or he will become like Ed Sheeran. And
it annoyed me for the next 5 years.
And we will be talking about random folk pop songs for the next year or so, and none of them will be discernible from one another. That's the situation that I fear we might find yourself in. But hopefully he's not troubling the charts anytime.
I'm sure he's a nice guy. But whoever's writing his music, hell, it might even be him. I hope they eat a dick. Fuck, we need less of this in music, these songs.
Yeah. Just come up with something new, please. And we won't be speaking about something new in the next position either, because in 5th place, this one's been on the charts for 10 weeks now. We did talk about this one last time, so you're okay if you remember it that way this time out. This one's Shabuzi. We've talked about it. It's a bar song with the interpolation.
Wow.
I like this less than I did last time as well. Every time I listen to it, it makes me want to listen to Jaquan's Tipsy, which I don't think...
No, I literally wrote this in here this time. So it's just better. Why would you make it... he made his own version and make a shit
song. It's not even a great song. As we mentioned last time, it's due to the nostalgia of the age it came out. And it's about that weird, massive drum beat in the original, that boom, 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 boom. But this hasn't got that, and it just makes everything else weaker. This is music to sell whiskey bottles by, and there's nothing else to it. I'm sorry.
I don't want to talk about this song. I'm not doing it again. I'm not talking about this song again.
Yeah,
I'm done.
We'll move straight on then. Number 4, first time we spoke about her in a while. She's got a new album out, which I really like. This is one of the songs from it. It was at number 4 last week, so it stayed in the same place, and it's been on the chart for 5 weeks. This is Billie Eilish with Birds of a Feather. Quite a similar pop song to Fortnite in many ways. It's produced by Phineas, who is Billie Eilish's brother and regular production partner. This is much better than Fortnite. I really like this song. It's got a lot more dynamic range to the vocal performance. The lyrics seem to be more self-aware, because it's just as toxic in many ways as Fortnite, in that she's becoming quite obsessed with somebody. It's not necessarily putting her in the best frame of mind, but I think there's just seems to be more reflection in this, that it's unhealthy for her. The self-awareness just scores it points over Fortnite. It just sounds better. There's that little ringing little synth hook that goes throughout the song, which is quite catchy in itself, and it acts as like a little earworm. This is a really good song. It's not the best single. I think Lunch, which is at number 12 and has dropped out of the top 10, is a better song. But yeah, this is a good single. I like this. Al?
I don't know. I know what you mean about the comparisons to Fortnite. I definitely see that. Honestly, I quite like the beats in this one. Like you say, I did quite like the sort of synthy sound. I did, for the most part, Billie Eilish, she can make some good tunes. I find this song just a bit boring, honestly. I have a hard time discussing this one because you're saying it has a bit more variance, I guess, but I don't really get that. It doesn't really lead to anything for me. It's just fine. Like, it's the worst song for me I've heard from her. But I cannot say I'm an expert in Billie Eilish, but... this song's just boring. I don't think the chorus is particularly clever, and I have genuinely a hard time talking about it.
No, it's a one thumber for me. It's not a double thumber. For me, because I've listened to Hit Me Hard and Soft, the album, I've listened to that a couple of times, and I think that all the tracks seem to work better within the context of the album. It seems to just flow into these ideas. Works better when you're listening to them in context. Outside of that context, they're very slight, and there's no particularly clever ideas with it. It's nothing particularly outstanding. I think the vibe is okay for a pop song. It reminds me of Bleeding Love by Leona Lewis a little bit. The Birds of a Feather. Birds of a Feather is very much keep bleeding, keep bleeding, love, keep bleeding. Sorry.
My mum loved Leona Lewis.
That's one of those songs that at the time I hated it because it was to do with X Factor, but it's one of those that's grown in stature on me, and it's a bit of a pop classic banger now. And this one's got those kind of vibes to it. So I think this is one of those where the more it gets played and the more you listen to it, the more it sinks its teeth into you. I've listened to it like 5 or 6 times throughout listening to it for this and the album. It's had its chance to make its impact on me a little bit more than you, perhaps.
Yeah, the earworm has burrowed further than mine, I guess.
A good pop song will do that, I find.
I found that, because I know she does try and up the ante towards the end a little bit, but first, her vocals, the way she's delivering, she gets more into the song as it goes through. Yeah. Which is good. I like that. A bit of a crescendo at the end, I guess. But the thing I did like is the music and the backing vocals itself didn't change in any real way. So I feel like if you're belting it, but the backing vocals are still subdued like it was a normal chorus, I felt like they could have just done a few little tweaks to make it better.
Yeah, and so the music is here and the vocal performance is like here, and the vocal performance starts to get more and more intricate and elaborate as the song goes on, but the music just stays here consistently. So
you can tell they've got the music and the backing vocals, like they're on the Pro Tools, they've copy and pasted the backing vocals and the music, but when it comes to the crescendo, they just go, right, go in the booth and record put a bit more welly in this time, but he didn't put any, like you say, any thought into what's supporting the welly, as it were.
Yeah.
And I feel like that could have been done.
There's another way to look at that, though, because you could look at that and say that from the perspective of the pop song, Billie Eilish being the center, the focus of this song, it's about her vocal performance, and the music gives her the space to breathe. I think that's how I view it, in that the music doesn't need to up the ante because she's doing that. But I can see what you mean. I guess it's just.
I think the song would be better live, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd love to see Billie Eilish live. Actually, I think tickets are probably astronomical, but
we would all like to see her boobs in person.
I actually quite like Billie Eilish as an artist. I mean, boobs are always a draw, don't get me wrong, but Billie Eilish for me is about the artistic appeal. It can be both. I really like Billie Eilish. I think she's cool. I think she's got a lot to say. I think she doesn't really give 2 shits about what people think about her, in the sense that she wants to remain true to who she is. But she's not doing that whole I'm just being a dick antagonistic because that will score me points. She's not really antagonistic. She seems pretty respectful of artists that have come before and her peers and contemporaries. So she's a cool person. I like her. This song's good. It's not the best one that could have represented her from this album. I'm disappointed we didn't get to talk about Lunch. That's a better bop. But hey ho, it is what it is.
My problem with Billie Eilish is she's never topped her first single.
That is, and we've talked about this on the show before. That is going to be, Bad Guy is like the big one. That is her defining moment in pop.
It's no songs come close to that song, and that song is a certified banger. That slaps, that song.
Undeniable banger. Bad Guy. I would get my vote. Yeah, well, there's only 2 of us now, so it's in.
Fuck those guys.
Anything more to say about Billie Eilish before we move on to number 3?
I've got nothing to say on this. Just copy and paste my opinion on Fortnite, and then this is it.
Well, number 3.
In fact, I honestly think I might prefer Fortnite.
Oh,
I know, I'm gonna upset you there. I'm gonna upset you.
No, I still upset me, but I just think you're wrong. Number 3 is an artist that we probably do have more to talk about, though, because this is somebody who was very popular when we were growing up and has launched a comeback of some sorts, got to number 1, and is now dropped to number 3. It's been on the chart for 3 weeks. This is Houdini by Eminem. The fucking worst song that Eminem has ever done by a country and I hate some of his stuff. Just Lose It is one of the worst singles of the 2000s. He's trumped it here, though. This is worse. This is a dumpster fire of trash. The production is weak from Dr. Dre. It's a very thin-sounding song. I love Abracadabra by Steve Miller Band, but this doesn't sound quite as cutting-edge and cool as that. It sounds like a Kids Bop version of Abracadabra from 1982, which is not good. The lyrics are the main point of contention that I have with this song, though, because this whole song is about him coming back and being super offensive. Who's he being super offensive to? He laughs at Megan Thee Stallion getting shot in the foot for no reason, and then decides to make weird...
that's quite funny.
He makes weird shots at trans people via his cat. He's old man rapping at cloud in this song. He's so irrelevant, so out of touch. It's astounding what a misstep this is. I don't think any artist should ever go, I'm running out of ideas. I know what I'll do. I'll just go back to what I was doing 20 years ago and chuck out exactly the same song with exactly the same chorus and considerably weaker verses that don't really mean anything to anybody. People's brains have been broken by COVID, that we are so tribal now that anybody who mentions certain buzzwords like offensive and cancel culture, which isn't real, then they suddenly become some sort of hero to the masses. This sounds like Eminem has listened to far too much Tom McDonald, who is a massive sinew who runs things through an AI and tries to be funny and clever, and gets people like fucking Ben Shapiro on his tracks. I'm surprised this doesn't have a Ben Shapiro feature on it. Hypothetically speaking, we should all be crying tears. That's when I'll do you in the marketplace of ideas. It's that kind of bullshit. This would be perfect for that. It's absolute trash. 0 out of 10. Go home, try harder, you shitty, shitty David Guest lookalike.
It's funny you said 0 out of 10, but my last note here is overall 8 to 9 out of 10.
Oh,
just solid.
No, this is trash, man. Absolute trash.
Okay. I agree with what you mean about the lyrics. I totally get that. Maybe it's just a sign of the charts as it is. Yeah. For me personally, I've always liked Eminem, and I've always preferred his more serious and darker songs.
Yeah,
I think there is better songs, and this is obviously not one of them. Lyrics aside, his flow is the same as usual, just very good.
Yeah, he's a capable rapper, which is why it's so frustrating.
Capable. He's one of the best ever done it.
Yeah, he is. His flow is absolutely incredible, but it's wasted on crap lyrics. I can't give someone props when they're a master of their craft, but the tools they're choosing to use are just dog shit.
You are right. To be honest, I didn't overly think into the lyrics as much as I should do. I've only heard the song twice, so I'll take that for what it is. I don't know. I think it's just because it was an old school up-tempo rap song, and I didn't mind the chorus, and for me, it just felt like an upbeat Eminem song. That's what it sounded like to me. But it sounded better than some of his other upbeat ones, which I didn't like as much. So for me, that's enough to be like, okay, Eminem's back. What's that single he had before this one? It might have been a year or two back, when he was rapping, but from the perspective of the LA shooter, you know, the sniper guy. I can't remember what it's called. But that song was fantastic. It was so good.
He's done some really good stuff, even in the last 10 years. There are some album tracks and things that he's done that are great, but picking singles is terrible. One of the last big ones he had was that Spider-Man one, Venom, which had that horrible chorus. He just sounded like he was constipated. He always does terrible choruses. He thinks he can sing in this weird twang, and it always sounds fucking awful. And it's always been the worst part of his songs. The best skill that he has is his ability to be really, really flexible and switch on a dime in his like delivery and his flow. And he still does that here. That's not missing. And that's why I think like so many people still buy it, because yeah, if you listen to us on the surface level, it's Eminem having fun with an upbeat track, and he can still deliver with the best of them. Yes, I understand that. I understand why it's here. It's just when I listened to it, I thought, right, okay, he's gonna have something to say here. There's gonna be a point to him coming back and making a point of, guess who's back? The most offensive guy that you can think of. And I'm like, okay, we've just had Kendrick Lamar call Drake a pedophile in a song. What's Eminem going to come up with here? Who's he firing shots at? And I'm like, okay, so you've had a random go at Megan Thee Stallion. It's just a throwaway comedy line, which I'm like, okay, whatever. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to have vague shots at trans people. Then I'm going to say, fuck you to Paul Rosenberg, who's always on his albums, and fuck you to Dre and me and my kids. It's like, who is this a diss track for? You're just dissing yourself.
I 100% get what you mean. Because for me, I enjoyed this as a surface level Eminem song. And as a surface level Eminem song, I quite enjoyed it. I'm
But
not
I
saying,
don't
but
want
say I
surface
didn't.
level from Eminem. He's always terrible when it's surface level. When he did Ass Like That, but doing, it's just fucking dog shit all the time.
Yeah,
and
I didn't like Ass Like That.
Another one of those. Just Lose It.
Without Me. That was not very
Without
good.
Me is actually all right, and this song does call back to that. But I think that has its limitations, and that it's very much a product of the time. And
Doesn't he even calls his daughter a bitch in this one or something, doesn't he? I'm
he's
like, really?
just firing
gonna,
random shots, and it's kind of like, remember me? I'm that edgy uncle that everybody remembers. Don't forget about me. Honestly, I can still say fuck on a record.
The more we talk about this, the more cringy I'm starting to think.
There's even a line on it where he says, "I wonder what the old me would say," and then he's like, he'd probably call everybody gay. I'm like, okay, well, that was a really astute observation. I'm glad you brought back old Eminem for that. And it just goes to show that, for me, old Eminem is out of place in today's hip-hop, because today's hip-hop is very much about delivering a message. There's a lot of social unrest out there, and people are looking for answers, and the answer is not Eminem calling someone a poo-poo bum.
For me, he's just got by on, because I don't listen to much new rap anymore. I used to like it a lot more, but I just don't listen to it much.
Yeah.
So just to have someone rapping and rapping well was enough for me to go, actually, just quite good. That's all it took. The lyrics, they're shit. I agree, they're terrible. But the fact that he's coming straight out the chorus, straight into a bar, which then the bar's like a minute long, and it's actually a good amount of time for, because at the moment, every rap song you hear now is like 2.5 minutes long. You got 2 verses, which are like 30 seconds each, and then he's throwing in shit choruses, and that's it.
Yeah.
At least here, there's a bloody chorus. At least here, he does long, unbroken bars, which just shows how good a rapper he is. And I'm okay with that. But like I say, he's coming back to be offensive. It didn't really work. It felt a little cringy, some of the lines, I guess. He just needs to pick a subject. If he's just having one of his "I'm great, I'm back" songs, at his age and his point of views, and like I said, it's irrelevant, I guess. So, which is why his serious ones are always good, because they tend to be about an actual subject, or about depression, or about, real feelings. But his "I'm just the best guy, look at me, I'm the best." Yeah, it's not as good as it used to be.
No.
You can't get away now.
Yeah, it's like he used that kind of shock tactic to get to where he was in the 2000s. And I go back and I listen to the Slim Shady LP and Marshall Mathers LP, and I don't think they've aged as well as a lot of people think they do. I still think they're good albums. They're strong albums that I can listen to. Some of it is a bit dated and hasn't aged all that well, but there was a purpose to him being really abrasive. It got him where he needed to be, and he helped elevate hip hop. And you can say what you want about him being a white rapper in a black music landscape, but he did help elevate hip hop to where it is today. But hip hop has evolved beyond that now. We don't need to go back to where it's just saying stupid things to get yourself on TV or to be a hit. It would be like if Prince decided that when he was in his 40s, he just decided to go back to wearing bikini bottoms and a trench coat because he wanted people to look at him again. Like, he openly admitted that was how he got noticed early in his career, and he has no need to do that anymore. I wish Eminem would have the same level of respect for himself and realize that, yeah, he's a great wordsmith. I actually would like to hear what Eminem, as a social commentator, would say. But instead, he chooses to just go, no, I'm offensive, you're all woke, I don't like anybody, and it's not what we need from him right now. It's a 0 out of 10, Eminem. And Marshall, if you are listening, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed in you.
I liked about it, 8 out of 10.
I'm not.
I don't need him to say anything. I just need him to just rap very well and me go, oh, wow, what a bar that was.
Yeah.
I don't care what he's talking about. He's very, like, he's the sort of person now who, like, in these songs where he'd rap about the queue at a drive-thru restaurant. You're like, okay.
Yeah. I need more from Eminem, and I'm not getting it here. I understand why it got to #1, because obviously it's Eminem, and there are people that, like Drake, will just buy his shit. It doesn't matter how bad it is. It's the name association. I got a lot of shit for this on Threads for calling that Eminem, but if you consider yourself to be somebody who does value lyricism in hip-hop, then you can't really be praising this, because it's saying nothing that hasn't been said by some grifter over the last 2 years.
I bet the album has a lot more stronger songs than this one.
Probably does. I don't know if there is one.
Tempo.
There's nothing announced yet. It's just a one-off. We might. Sometimes Eminem works best backed into a corner. So if he does get a lot of criticism for this, then maybe the album will be a banger. I'm going to keep slagging off Eminem until he makes something good.
Because I liked his songs before this one. I'm willing to give him a bit more leeway. I don't care what anyone says. Rap God was a while back now, but that song slaps hard.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Rap God. Even like some of the kind of F-bombs that he drops towards the end, I'm like, it's not good. But you can kind of like give him a pass because it was acceptable back then. And I don't judge people's old work by the standards of today. I think that's silly to do that. But when they carry that aesthetic into their new music and don't seem like they've learned anything, that's when I lose a bit of respect. So yeah, it's one of those cases where Eminem's been releasing stuff and I've been looking at him with a lot of nostalgia and giving him a pass. And it's got to the point now where it's just one too many trash songs for me. He's going to have to do something really good to get me back on board, I think. We will move on into second place, which is another song we've talked about before. This was #1 last time that we met. It's been on the chart for 10 weeks. It's Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter. I like it a little bit more than I did. It's grown on me.
I said that as well. In my notes, I actually prefer it more now than I did last time.
Yeah, I think it's because I like Sabrina Carpenter.
See a horror button.
I'm going to have to ban you from saying that word. I need a new adjective for next week, please, Al. No, okay, fair enough. But yeah, I think it's because I like Sabrina Carpenter. I think that the more I see her on interviews, I think she's the right personality to be selling pop songs. She seems quite cool. She's very attractive. And the more I see her and hear her, she feels like a good addition to the 2024 charts. Former Disney star, yeah, whatever. But she's co-writing these songs. Spoiler alert, this isn't the first time we're mentioning her because she's not just at #2. I still think that the bass sounds like it was mixed underwater and there's not enough crispness there to propel it as an absolute disco stomper for me. But it's fine. It's fine.
It's inoffensively a pop song, which in the pop charts, that's kind of what I would expect to see. And I don't mind it. At least there's some, a bit of energy in it. When you hear of like female vocal like pop songs from back in even like just Taylor Swift a little bit, this feels a bit like that, where you can see why young girls and young lads, I guess, would enjoy it because it's upbeat, fun.
I'm in their late 30s.
I'm in their late 30s. It's just fun kind of pop music. So I get it. It's not my usual cup of tea, but I prefer this more than last time just because I've heard it more, and I guess that's always a good sign of a bit of an earworm. Honestly, just listen to last 3 weeks podcast. Copy and paste it. It's fine.
Before we get onto #1, which by the powers of deduction, you will have worked out who is #1 already, we'll go back and have a look outside of the top 40 a little bit because there's a couple of things. Firstly, I'm really disappointed not to see Charli XCX in this top 10 because her new album is really, really, really good. And I expected to see one, if not 2 or 3 songs from that on this list. The highest one is somehow languishing at 28 is 360, the first single from it, and there's no other appearances in the top 40, which is ridiculous because that album is so much fun, and 360 is a great self-referential pop song. I love that. Disappointed in the UK record streaming public for not making that higher, especially when you consider that there's only one song in the top 40 that wasn't in the top 40 last week.
That's bad, isn't it?
And it's 3 Lions by Baddiel, Skinner and the Lightning Seeds from 96. Re-entering the chart at number 32. I mean, come on, it's trash.
No, I'm up on this.
It's
best England song ever made.
It's not. It's not the best. The best English song ever made is "World in Motion" by New Order.
Okay, that's a pretty good song.
That is by far and away. I kind of get the appeal of 3 Lines as a novelty song. I really do, but there is something about Frank Sinatra, not Frank Sinatra, that would be an interesting song. Frank Skinner, he's got this thing where he thinks he can sing, so he puts like vibrato on his voice, and he sounds fucking woeful. Every time I hear him sing, it makes me cringe myself inside out. And I hate the fact that it's so ubiquitous, and I'm not watching the Euros at all. I don't like international football. I've finally made my peace with club football, and we'll be going back to following QPR again next season after 2 years of fucking hating football, but I've been sucked back in, I guess. But international football, I just don't find it interesting. I'm just a contrarian, and it's just not for me. Also of note in the top 40, somehow hanging around like a bad smell for the past few weeks, but number 40 is The Sound of Silence by Disturbed, which must have been featured in something because it's not a new song. It came out years and years ago, over 5 years ago, and it's a really bad cover as well. The Sound of Silence is one of the greatest songs of all time, Simon and Garfunkel. And to hear fucking David Draymond from Disturbed shout over it is awful. He's a wanker. He's been writing stuff on bombs that Israel are dropping on the Gazan people. So fuck David Draymond, fuck Disturbed, and fuck whoever's bought this.
Don't get me wrong, when back in the day in new metal years, I didn't mind a bit of Down with the Sickness.
Yeah, Down with the Sickness is great for what it was back in the day. But not that.
I didn't mind them. I don't listen to Disturbed anymore.
Because you've
I remember because this is quite an old song now. And I remember when it first came out, and it came up on my YouTube recommendations, the video of him doing it. And I don't hate it as much as you do. I don't think his voice is as suited to this song as every comment I saw on the YouTube page for Twitter was like, his voice is flawless. It's amazing. But
yeah,
I don't know. I just felt like you can't. I don't know. It's something I just didn't like about the song. I think The Sound of Silence is like probably a completely flawless song. It's incredible. So to cover it, you're already at a disadvantage. But then to just disturb it up with carnival, you're like, carnival. There's something about it. He's hitting the notes and he's hitting the notes well, but I've never been that fond of the cover. I would say I'm not going as far as you, where you're like, it's terrible, but...
Anyway, let's not talk about that anymore. As It Was is still hanging around, is a number 33. Some of the songs that we've covered earlier in the year are still kind of around. I'm disappointed that $1 Million Baby by Tommy Richman dropped out of the top 10. That's at number 11. His new single that came out is not as good as that, but I will listen to the album. I see that David Guetta's back. I didn't have to listen to that. He's done a track with One Republic. I think that might have just killed me off, to be honest.
What's that song we hadn't had? The Zumba music one I liked. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, that was Artemis. Artemis is I Like the Way You Kiss Me, which has dropped down all the way to number 34.
Oh, I was really upset by that because that was my favourite song on the charts by far. Yeah, so I'm a bit upset on that one again. That's
been knocked down by both Three Lions and As It Was.
It's the nature of meme songs, though, isn't it?
It's meme songs.
The second it stops being a relevant meme, that's it.
All you've got to do, I guess, is put that Hawk Tour on the marketing, and you got yourself a viral hit. That's all you need.
I was so out of touch about Hawk Tour thing. I had to literally I had to put it on YouTube Hawk Tour just to see what the hell it's even all about. I mean, to be fair, it's quite funny and good on her, you know?
Yeah.
You can make fun all you want, but you're wrong.
I mean, yeah, everybody knew exactly what she was getting at with that. She very concisely delivered the information that she was required.
Take note, ladies. She's on to something.
To implore the ladies more, we could say, please, please, please. Which is the name of number 1.
Oh, that was seamless. Yeah. Seamless segue.
I've still got the segues. Still got the segues. Number 1 is Please, Please, Please by Sabrina Carpenter. It's been on the chart for 2 weeks. Swap Places with Eminem. That was at number 1 last week. And this was at number 3.
That seems to be what happens a lot. It never, stuff never just goes down and disappears. It just goes down and then back up again, down and up again. And just swapping it is strange.
Yeah, loads of songs get a go at number 1 and then just drop off, and then maybe sometimes they even pop up for a second stint. But this song, Please, 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 is a more mid-tempo song from Sabrina Carpenter. There's something about this song, I really like it. I think it's the really wistful keyboard lick that opens it up and follows through the song. There's something very nostalgic and off-kilter.
I can tell you exactly what it is. I can tell you exactly what it is, and I don't think you've noticed it. It's because they steal the lick of Another Brick in the Wall by Pink Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
I think they do on keys or something.
Yeah.
And they only stick it in like halfway through the chorus or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, there's like a rundown. I know the bit that you're talking about.
And that's what it is. It's Another Brick in the Wall by Pink Floyd for like 4 notes. And when it first came out, I went, is that Another Brick in? And then it was the second you've done that, it's gone. Like,
I haven't noticed that.
When it came around again, I was like, they fucking have. They nicked Another Brick in the Wall. Chord progression.
I haven't noticed that. I'm gonna have to listen out for that.
Now mention it and listen to it.
Oh yeah, But the first thing that came to mind with this track, there's something about the tone of that synth that really reminds me of Echo the Dolphin on the Mega Drive. That was a strange game. It was about a time-traveling dolphin. There was all these ambient tunes on it, and it was excellent. And it really puts me in the same frame of mind as playing those games back in the 90s. They were hard games, so this shouldn't...
I was about to say, that might have been like the hardest game on this, like
really,
on this...
really fucking hard as well. This song shouldn't put me in a good mood. I should be thinking of all the times I've fallen out of sky tubing and thrown controllers, but no, it doesn't. It makes me strangely nostalgic, even though it's a new tune. The dilemma that this song's put me in is I really like it, but it's a 3-minute pop song that's very minimalistic, and it's produced by Jack Antonoff, who also produced Fortnite, which was number 10 by Taylor Swift. So I'm having to think, why do I like this song, but I don't like that song? And I think it's simply the vocals. She's not revealing everything about herself, Sabrina Carpenter. She's keeping her cards played quite close to her chest. And the song is about her not wanting for her partner to embarrass her by being a dick, essentially. And it's just, there just seems to be a bit more nuance to it. And she's also a very good swearer. The way she says motherfucker is great. Musically, Jack Antonoff is not really doing too much more than he is on Fortnite, but the little intricacies and the little weird parts just complement what she's doing a lot more than Taylor Swift does. Taylor Swift seems to make the song about her brand, whereas Sabrina Carpenter makes this song a bit more about her, and the song really complements that, whereas the Taylor Swift song, it's just, this is a Jack Antonoff produced Taylor Swift branding product. This is a good pop song, and I like it.
I mean, she does, I mean, we're saying Taylor Swift a lot, but I mean, like even the talking bits in this song is very Taylor Swift, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I think she reminds me heavily of Taylor Swift on the way up, rather than where Taylor Swift, you know what I mean? So at the moment, she's just writing just solid pop songs, I guess, which is fine. I prefer Espresso to this song. But maybe that's because it's more familiar to me. I don't know.
Maybe. That's the nature of pop songs, the more you listen to them.
Yeah, I guess so. But for the most part, yes, I pretty much concur with everything you said. I mean, you pretty much said everything word for word. I have my little note sheet. It's fine. I just can't get over the another brick in the wall bit.
I'm gonna have to.
Bothers me now because I can't listen to them. Like,
yeah, they haven't given a co-writing credit to Roger Waters or Dave Gilmour or anything like that. So if it has been cribbed, I don't know. Maybe there's going to be a controversy later. You know, that tends to happen, like with blurred lines and that. Somebody notices it, and then suddenly they end up credited as co-songwriters. I think if what you're saying, I'm going to have to listen to it and do a side-by-side comparison. The kind of way it turns around from the chorus into the verse that I did notice as being a bit familiar. So that might be what it is.
It's just that one bit. It literally does do doom, 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 and then it stops. Then it's gone. Be like, hold on, you bastards! I see what you did. I have no problem with this artist at all. I look forward to her next genre-chasing song. You know, once you get to that level of popularity, then you've got to keep relevant, like Beyonce, and they start. I would call her country song in 8 months.
I'm kind of hoping she's not. I'm kind of hoping that, because the album has been announced, it's called Short and Sweet, and the 2 singles, Espresso, and obviously the 2 we talked about today, they're both kind of 80s synth pop based. So I'm hoping that the album is a bit more cohesive and that she doesn't just throw on country songs for the sake of it because everybody else is doing it. If she does, then I'm going to write a really scathing review that will probably never get an episode, just at my notes, and I'll just look at it every now and again.
You wait. She'll have some guy in a video playing a song with a Lil in the name. Or hell, even the ultimate, they'll stick Drake in as featuring.
You know that's
you watch this.
You know it's
they'll notice her fucking chart position going down slightly. It's like, right, time for Drake. Then they'll do it.
I haven't looked at what's scheduled to come out. Who do you think we're going to be covering in the next chart? If you could hazard a guess as to who's gonna be propping up the charts next time.
I know there'll be at least 3 or 4 artists who do the mum rock. That's happening, and they'll all be on. We might even get one that's already known, but it'll just be an unknown artist out of woodworks, and it'll just sound like every other fucking song, and I'll get irritated. And people listening to this will probably skip forward because it'll just be another rant about that shit. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know enough about popular music. I'm Joe Everyman on this podcast, so I don't know even who to expect. Like, well, half these artists are like really popular. I don't know who the fuck they are. I've never heard of, you know, Christina what's her name? Well, fuck, I even already forgot my fucking name.
Sabrina Carpenter.
Sabrina Carpenter, yeah.
Christina,
I've never heard of her. Yeah, I've never heard of her before we started doing this.
But
So
we have joined at the point where she's just experienced like her first chart success. She's been going for a while, but this is the first time she's got UK hits.
right, I think Billie Eilish is gonna have another one more because if their albums are dropping, we're gonna do this in another month's time. They'll make a music video for another one on the album, and they're definitely in it. It's been a while since we've had some generic bit of trap, so I'm expecting more of that really.
Yeah.
And it's been a hot minute since I had a Drake tune on the top 10. It seems rare.
Drake to switch completely to country. Oh God, I don't want to say it.
I think that's fucking bad. Bad Bunny is going to make an album at some point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm going to predict we're going to see either it'll be one of the solo singles from one of the big groups of the 2010s that are now broken up. So I think we're going to see the resurgence of somebody from One Direction or Little Mix. That's what we're gearing up for this summer. I think we're going to have a big either Perry Edwards or Jade Thirlwall song or like Zayn from One Direction. So yeah, there we go. Don't tune in next time because it's probably just going to be Zayn's country #1. There you go.
You like to do a bit of sing and make a song every now and again. Maybe you should do a country album. You never know.
God, no.
It'd be massive.
No.
You know the exact beats to hit for it to be just really take off.
If we get enough interest in the comments below, we will do I don't know, do a charity country single or something. Oh God, I've said it now. I've said it. Yeah. Maybe don't leave that as a comment, but do let us know in the comments below what you do think of our commentary on the top 10. Before we do go, Al, what song are we using as the Predator credits music this week?
Well, out of his top 10.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's go with Eminem just because it will fuck you off.
Predator 2 was always better anyway. No, actually, I can't abide by that. Personally, I mean, Band for Band by Central C and Lil Baby would be quite out of place and stupid. But I think I'd just have to go with Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish, just because it would just be so out of place and not matching in tone that it would almost go full circle and it would make me laugh more. More Arnold Schwarzenegger, Billie Eilish crossovers, please. Maybe next time, because this whole country invasion is starting to give me the willies, the Willie Nelsons. So next time we might have a look at some random chart from Sweden or something like that, but we'll decide that. You don't get to decide.
That's fun. I'd be up for that, yeah.
Because it might be that we don't understand any of the songs because they're all in a foreign language, which I don't think would make for the best hour of music commentary on YouTube. But we've done worse episodes. Until that appears on your screens, make sure you stay funky. You hear me?
Stay funky, everyone.